if your kids have done this cubing exercise, then they have seen what these are. I gave you little bitty copies of this page. And can you see the tiny little images that I gave you? Do you notice at the top it says sample analogy patterns? Well, I was thinking about how things relate to other things in the world. If you ask kids to do a description, they say, I like it, it's pretty. Well, there are other things to say about it that tell us information about something. And if we get them very, very conversant on all those different kinds of relationships that any object has with other stuff in the world, then they've got a bank to draw from, besides just, I like it. Can you describe it? I like it. What are its parts? It's the part that I like. You know that. So I took some objects and paired up some objects and handed them out to my classroom. And the objects we drew into these little tiny pictures, like a tiny plastic cactus and a Band-Aid, or a little plastic guy with a shovel and a little shovel. I was thinking about the analogies that are on the SAT test and how we teach kids not to say blank is to blank as blank is to blank, but to make meaningful sentences. Blank uses blank the same way that some blank uses blank, or blank is a part of blank, or blank can be described as blank. You'd have different things in those blanks than you would in the other sentences. And I decided to try these out with kids. And they came up with sentences that nailed the relationship between those two objects. They were nice kids, smart kids, but they weren't precise thinkers. And so I gave them these objects and said, make me a little poster. Show me, what does this have to do with this? And then table after table went, we got it, we got it. A cow's the same thing as a hamburger. A sheep is the same thing as a pillow. They were writing the blank is the same as blank. And I had to go around and say, a hamburger is the same as a cow? Really? So if you drove up to McDonald's and can we take your order please? And you said, I'd like a hamburger. And you drove up to the window and they handed you a cow, you'd be okay with that? They went, oh, well, okay, they're not exactly the same. That's right, they're not the same. So what are they to each other? Oh, this is really hard. And eventually they came up with these sentences which are just like the SAT analogies patterns. Then we made little posters of each one of these and we put them up around the room. And we started using those pattern sentences and calling them info shots. They're different kinds of information. Info shots. What you just did was a cubing exercise with 6 of them. There are way more than these 8. There are probably 25, 30, more than that. But these are some that are the most basic, the most used. And so of those, we chose 6 for your cubing exercise to write about 6 of them. And pick your favorite 2s, and there are good body paragraphs to, if you combined a little bit from each one. A friend is a this and can be described as a that, and you've got a paragraph for the first part and a paragraph of the second part, and then you've got your Lucky Charms already in there. Does that make sense? So you can build it from the middle out that way, or you can use these for adding little bits of information into an essay that's already existing. Remember when we were looking at this, the essay about Hawaii? I wish I could go to Hawaii. One thing about it, another thing about it, and this was that student structure when talking about Hawaii. And we were looking at what all we could do there. We added snapshots and thought shots. We could add an info shot. The palm trees. Do a shot of information in there. If you named what kind of palm trees. The sago palm trees. I don't know what kind of palm trees. But you could shoot a little information. Like the whales doing what with their babies? If you shot in some information, creating something or something, using these. And if you don't know what, you've got some ideas here to shop from. They're almost the same as what? Creamy white sand is almost the same as walking on sugar. That these will help kids think of more ways to shoot information in as a detail, or use these as whole chunks to make the whole essay.